Okay, hi. This is my LP2b code, and we're going to run it in Python Tutor. So first I have the user inputs a value for n as an integer, and the input label is enter n, and then we print enter the n elements of the list. So if n was entered as 4, it would be enter the n elements of the list, and then we define the list here, and then for every index in the range of n, print the index plus 1, so we won't have 0, the greater than symbol, and then it'll print input for lowercase n as integers and append it to the list. So that is how we will get our list of integers. Okay, and then we're going to want to sort the list. So here we have the sorted list equals the sorted function of list. And then it's going to print the sorted list is, and then join the sorted list as a string with spaces in between. And then we start doing the calculations with the given list. So first we have the sum, which the sum equals sum function of the list, and then print sum is the sum. And then we have the max value, which we can use the max function of the list, and the same for minimum for the min function of the list, and then print the statements. For the mean, we have the sum that we found earlier divided by the number of values, n, and then we print here with up to 1 decimal place using the f strings. And then we go to median. So for if there's an odd number of n, it'll take the middle element of the list. But if it's even, it averages the two middle elements. So we needed to make an if loop. So to make sure, so if it was odd, the sorted list of n floor division 2. So we get a whole number, and else, if it's even, would take two of the middle numbers and add them and divide them by 2. Okay, so then we find the mode, which first I made a dictionary titled frequencies, and then a for loop. So for a number in the list, frequencies dot the get function of number to 0 plus 1 returns the current count for a number, or 0 if it's not in the dictionary yet, and then it adds 1 to increment the count. And then we have max frequency and mode value set to 0 and none. Okay, and then we have for a number frequencies in frequencies dot items. So if the frequency is greater than the max frequency will become that, and then the mode value will become that number from the dictionary. So if there were two 5s, it would be 5:2. So there 5 has a frequency of 2. Else if the frequency is equal to the max frequency, if the mode value is none or the number is greater than the mode value is equal to that number. And then it'll find the mode and then print it in this statement here. Okay, and then next we find the variance. So first we have the sum of the squared differences set to 0, and then for the numbers in the list, that variable is plus equals the number minus the mean raised to the second power. And the variance would equal that sum of squared differences divided by n, and then I did this round function instead of importing math and using the math ceiling function, using this round function to make sure that it's a whole number and rounded up. And then we print that statement. And then finally, standard deviation is the variance that we found squared, but you can also do raised to the 0.5 power. And then that statement using f strings to have it only have 3 decimal places. So your value for variance affects your standard deviation value. So let's run it with values, with 3 values. Okay, so let's run it. So first I'm going to enter 3 elements to the list. So there you go. Enter n when I enter 3, and then enter the 3 elements of the list. So I'm going to do, right, so here we have at index 0, I'm entering 4, and then for index 1, I'm going to enter 6. And then for index 2, I will enter 6 again. So there you have it printed here, all 3 elements, and then we're sorting the list. The sorted list is 4, 6, 6, and then the sum, adding the values, the sum is 16, the max value is 6, the minimum before. Then we find the mean, which is 5.3. Then the median is 6. It's a set of odd numbers, so it just took the middle value. Now we're finding the mode. So here we're adding in the numbers I entered into the frequency dictionary. So first we have 4, 6, and 6. And you can see here, for 4 has a frequency of 1, and for 6, 2, which would tell us that the mode is 6. And then for variance, find the sum of square differences for numbers in the list, which will give us a variance of 1. And then finally for standard deviation, it's just the variance raised to 0.5, which gives us 1.000. And yeah.